What is up, guys? Pirate here. So today we're back with another video. Now I saw that reptile room tour video I did is just going crazy. It's getting view after view. It's only been out for like a week and it's already hit like 400 views or something. So thank you guys for getting that many views on that video. But with that being said, let's continue on with the video. So today, guys, we are going to be doing a complete care of the African Sulcata tortoise. So right now we're inside, the tortoises are outside, but I'm going to film the intro inside and then we'll get into the care of the Sulcata tortoise. So the Sulcata tortoise, they're pretty neat species of tortoise, very commonly kept. There's a lot to know about them, so let's get into it. So guys, we are out here with my two African Sulcata tortoises. I love these guys, they're super awesome. It's a male and a female, Xena right here, and Abrams. So let's get started on the care for these dudes. So you guys may notice my sulcatas are being kept outside. Well, the reason why is because in warmer climate states like Texas, Florida, really anywhere southern, they're going to do really well outside due to the temperature. But as winter comes around, you're going to want to bring them in or give them a heat lamp outside so that they can continue to maintain that warmth in their body. But when they are outside, some of the best things about it is during the summer you don't have to have any heating or UVB on them because they're getting all of that naturally from the sun. And the reason why people tend to stress how important it is that your animal needs UVB is because in the case of tortoises, UVB helps their bone and shell development. If you don't have UVB or calcium, then their shell will start to pyramid or it won't grow very well at all. And you don't want that for your little tortoise. So definitely, if you have it inside, look into UVB and a heat bulb for sure. But if you have them outside here in Texas, Florida, places like that, during the summer you should be good. Now for housing. When it comes to housing, I house my tortoises in wooden enclosures like this. Now you don't want to keep them in a regular glass enclosure. The reason being is glass enclosures will hold more humidity than necessary, especially for Sulcata tortoises, which if they hold too much humidity, that can cause respiratory problems. Another thing is the glass they don't see. So what I mean by that is they'll continue to try to go through the glass and continue as if it's just an invisible force field. And they can get brain damage, nose rub, and other problems that you don't want your Sulcata tortoise to have. If a glass enclosure is your only option, then try to wrap some paper around it, maybe put some tiles around it, really anything to block that glass view, because then it'll become an actual object that they can't try to go through. That's why wooden enclosures are chosen, because they can't see through it, so they don't try to go through it. So if you're going to have anything like that, thanks a lot, plane. So if you're going to try to have anything like that, definitely go with like a nice wooden enclosure. You can build one yourself, or you can have one built or buy one. They're really the best option. And then if you're having them outside, try to get something with a screen lid, just because you want to protect your little guys from predators that could possibly harm them. Now we are on the diet. So of course they can eat some of their hay that you put in with their enclosure, but along with that, I really suggest spring mix. Now spring mix is so good because it's a mixture of all sorts of different things that are healthy for them. You can also feed them kale on occasion, or collard greens, mustard greens, dandelion greens, really anything like that. They love vegetables. You don't want to feed them really any meats or anything like that. You just want to stick to vegetables. They'll eat potatoes, watermelon, and fruits on occasion. The watermelon, if you feed them too much, can actually cause the pH in their stomach to change and can hurt their stomachs and make their stomachs upset. And obviously you don't want that for your adorable little tortoise. Another thing I recommend feeding opposite of greens is this stuff right here. You can feed them the Gourmet Tortoise Food by ZoomEd. You can also do Tortoise Diet by Missouri, all sorts of things like that. Now this is the kind I happen to have on standby. You just hydrate it, you can mix it with their food or feed it to them alone. Either way, this stuff is the best along with your vegetables. So if you were to do something like that, that would work really well. But as I said, there are other tortoise diets you can try. You really want to make sure it's for grassland tortoises because there are different types of tortoises. And then spring mix, maybe some collard greens, as I said, spring mix, things like that. While we're on the topic of diet, another thing I'd recommend is calcium. Calcium is going to be pretty good with the UVB on giving them good shell development. The calcium you only want to dust on their food about once every week that you feed them, and you typically want to feed them every day or every other day. So definitely dust this on every now and then, and give them a little bit of watermelons, strawberries, blueberries, fruits like that. That will also be every now and then as a treat. So let's continue on. Now with little sulcatas, temperature is also going to be pretty key. So on temperature of these guys, you want to keep them at a hot spot at about 90 to 100 degrees. Oh my goodness. About 90 to 100 degrees on their hot spot, and about 70 to 80 degrees on their coolest side. Now, of course, that can vary a little bit and fluctuate a little bit. Sulcatas are really hardy species, so it doesn't exactly have to be exact to 90 degrees or 100 degrees. And with humidity, I recommend keeping them around 30 to 40% humidity. Less is fine. You don't really want to go over that because they aren't a tropical species, but you want some pretty moderate humidity for these guys because they are not desert, but they aren't rainforest either. They're simply grassland species. So you don't want to cook them too much, but you don't want to keep them too cold. Definitely keep their cool side where their hay is at, because then they'll go into the shade to get away from the sun. See, they love just playing around. They're crazy tortoises, and she's getting herself stuck inside that log. They're not camera shy at all, and they're very fun, active species. Just super cool to have. So let's continue on with the video. When it comes to hydration for these guys, the only thing you want to give them is water. Water is very good for them. Just get some regular sink water and then dechlorinate it with ReptiSafe. This stuff I really love. It's a water dechlorinator for really any animal, and it's super good for the sulcata tortoises. It's got all sorts of extra beneficial electrolytes and things like that. Really good for hydrating up your animal. This stuff, only a couple drops you need, and it'll completely dechlorinate your water. Now on their water bowl, you want to give them enough room to completely soak. As you can see, there is no water in it, but they're already trying to get in the water. They do love their water. So you want to give them enough room to completely soak, but you don't want them to be able to drown or anything like that, because sulcata tortoises are tortoises and not turtles, so they don't swim very well. So as you can see, that's a perfect amount for them both. They can chill in there, they'll soak every now and then, they'll drink out of it, and they will. And I repeat, they will make a mess of their water, so be prepared for that. And then just for food dishes, you can really do anything like this, like a little terracotta dish works. Anything like that. And then on their water bowls, just regular reptile water bowl, or even another terracotta dish if you're on a budget. Anything like that really works. Just don't make it too deep, because you don't want your tortoise to drown. There's another thing you have to be careful for, is if he happens to climb in and flip over, now his head's completely submerged and he's going to drown. So you don't want that either. You don't want to fill it up completely to the top. Now with decor, you don't really need too much decoration. Typically I try to stay away from fake plants because they try to eat them, because, well, these guys are herbivores and they love themselves some fruits and vegetables. So if you do put decor, maybe some little wooden pieces like this, like cork, this will help them claw at it. They'll like to go in and out of it. As you can see here, they love this little piece of cork. It's like a little fun tunnel for them, as you can see right there. So cork is a really good piece. You can do little branches, things like that. As I said, you don't need too much decor. If you want to put some fake plants, just be wary, they may try to pick at them. Anything like that. As I have this calcium block, I absolutely love this thing. As you can see, they have completely torn away at it. It's got calcium on the outside and like a cactus infused calcium mixture on the inside of the block. And so they smell it and they tend to want to bite at it. Now this calcium block is good for several reasons. First of all, it's giving them calcium. Second of all, when they get into the cactus part, as you can see they have there, they're getting some of that nice fresh cactus. And then another great thing about this block is it's withering down their beaks and their claws, because as you can see there's little scratch marks and little beak marks. So they're withering that stuff down, so they don't, because you don't want your sulcatas claws or beak to get super long, because it can be problematic for your animal and it just doesn't look as nice. So calcium blocks, if you happen to see these, are super, super awesome for your Sulcata tortoise. Now that is basically it with the basic care of the Sulcata tortoise. Super simple animal. Now keep in mind, this is just for babies and smaller species of these tortoise. As they get bigger, you're going to want to totally change things up. You're going to want a lot more space because these Sulcatas are the third largest species of tortoise in the world. So they will get very, very large and they can be very destructive. So you definitely want to clean out their cage quite often because they will destroy everything around them. And they love to burrow as well. So be warned of that. Another little fun fact is, yes, they do come from Africa. As I said, they're grassland species. They're not a desert species like many people mistake them for. And they're really not too much about them. They're super fun though, super great to have. As you can see, they're just running around. They love to eat. That's gonna be the main thing. And then one thing I do on occasion, and you can do too as long as your yard is not sprayed or isn't harmful to any animal, is you can let them walk around and eat the fresh grass. They absolutely love that because it gives them a little bit of enrichment and time to think they're getting away from you, along with them getting to eat some grass and experience the outside for a little bit. Now obviously you don't want to walk away from them and let that happen, and you don't want to just not keep an eye on them because they will either escape or a bird will snatch them up. You got to be careful of that stuff because these little tortoises make perfect prey for things like possums, raccoons, things like that. So you got to be careful with stuff like that. But otherwise, if you have basically just this like setup here, you're good. Now, if you live up north and, as I said, it gets cold or anything like that, then you're definitely going to want to get some UVB and heat bulbs on them. One thing I recommend would be a 160-watt power sun. That's heat, UVB, light, and UVA all in one bulb. It's the best bulb to get, and it's one bulb, so all you need is one bulb and one fixture instead of a double fixture, and that'll provide UVB and heat for your animal. But as I said, while they're outside in the summer and it's nice and warm, they'll be perfectly happy with that. So that's basically it. That's the basic Sulcata care for babies and smaller species. Now, if you have any questions on these guys, or if I missed anything, please let me know, guys. I want to hear y'all's feedback. Thank you for all the support y'all have been giving me. That's pretty much it. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.